President Trump has been visiting the troubled city of Kenosha in Wisconsin after a week of violent protests following the police shooting of Jacob Blake, an African-American. Since then, 2 people died when armed vigilantes took to the streets in defence of the police. President Trump ignored pleas from local leaders to stay away from the city and said that violent anti-police protests were, in his words, domestic terror. Our North America correspondent, Aleem Maqbool, sent this report.
So if you walk away right now, if you walk away...
Officials here feared a visit by Donald Trump would reignite tensions.
So now you want to put him in a headlock.
And as he rolled into town, people took to the streets again. And arguments flared up between Black Lives Matter protesters and Trump supporters.
I was asked the other day by somebody saying, do you think it's good that Trump's coming? I said, yeah. They're like, well, don't you think it's going to cause dissension? I go, have you seen our city?
When he arrived, the president did view some of the damage caused during the protests and met with law enforcement agencies. He called the demonstrations anti-police and anti-American.
Violent mobs demolished or damaged at least 25 businesses, burned down public buildings, and threw bricks at police officers, which your police officers won't stand for, and they didn't stand for it. These are not acts of peaceful protest, but really domestic terror. My administration coordinated with the state and local authorities to very, very swiftly deploy the National Guard, surge federal law enforcement to Kenosha and stop the violence.
This did all start with the shooting 7 times by an officer of Jacob Blake, but his family said they didn't want to see the president.
All I ask is that he keep his disrespect, his foul language far away from our family. We need a president that's going to unite our country and take us in a different direction.
In any case, Donald Trump's focus has been law and order, looting and burning, not racial injustice.
It's just a deflection, you know, it's just like, oh, look at this property damage, but look at the fact that this cop shot this man. I think what has happened over the last week has just shown how deep the racism that exists in this country is and how it shows up in any town from Chicago to Kenosha.
In part, she's referencing the way in which the president has defended this 17-year-old who shot dead 2 protesters, while condemning people like her who took to the streets.
4 more years! 4 more years!
What's undoubtedly been exposed by the events here has been the stark polarization of American society.
I would love to shake your hand, brother. God bless.
We did see brief moments of coming together between Trump supporters and detractors, but right now, this feels like a rarity.
Let's go live to Kenosha tonight, and Aleem is there for us. Aleem, this visit by the president, which took place, as we said, despite the protests of some local leaders, how should it be seen in the context of the politics leading to the election?
Well, I think we have to view anything that happens here politically over the next 9 weeks through the prism of the election. And certainly Donald Trump has decided that the way forward for him is this very strong, aggressive messaging on law and order, saying he is essentially the man who is with the police, and this is a country that will fall into chaos and anarchy if left to the Democrats. And even though Joe Biden, his Democratic counterpart, of course, came out 24 hours ago and very unequivocally condemned the violence, I think we can expect much more of that from Donald Trump in the coming days and weeks. What we haven't heard a great deal about from the president is what he is going to do about racial injustice and police brutality. And as we get into the evening here in Kenosha, people are once again taking to the streets. And what they say is until they hear concrete steps as to how to tackle those issues, they will continue to demonstrate.
Aleem, many thanks again. Aleem Maqbool with the latest there in Kenosha.